Oh, hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone. Happy Tuesday. So excited to have you all here with us yet again. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis with you. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Getting you ready for the next 2 hours, breaking down everything that we saw still in week 7. We've got a great show lined up for you today. Talking with Paul Charchian, Most Chopped Guillotine League players. Dwain McFarland's coming on for the Utilization Report. We're not talking about the Mariners, Adam. How you doing? How's it going? Brutal.
What happened with the Mariners? I missed the game.
What are we doing here? I mean, what's going on?
You brought it up. I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah, I'm sorry.
Brutal.
It's
I mean,
tough
is this
loss.
what you felt like? Was that last year? 2
Last year,
years ago?
yeah. I mean, we didn't
God.
go to game 7 and we played the Dodgers, who are like
I mean,
unbeatable, even
yeah.
better this year than last year. But yeah, it sucks because
This stinks. Why do we do this?
I don't know. I ask myself that all the time. But yeah, you make that magical run, things start feeling like it's going to happen, and then it does not. And for the Mariners, too, it was tougher because you're up 2-0, you're up 3-2, and then you have the lead in that game. So
I was telling you every time, I was like, I'm not comfortable with this. I don't feel good
I
about
thought they
it.
should have brought in Munoz to face Springer.
I can't even. Yeah, they should have, of course. They kept wooing too long. Love Woo, but it just wasn't there when he went back in. I agree with you 100%.
Well, at least your Seahawks won.
Yeah, great. Did you stayed up for that whole game?
I did. You know me.
Wow.
Come on. You think I'm gonna go to sleep?
True. You were gonna be up for that anyway. So at least we got one win in Seattle. It's fine. They look good though, to be totally honest with you. The Seahawks do.
Yeah, I mean their defense is good. The Texans' offense is absolutely brutal. I have no idea what they were doing on their bye week. You know, look, we know they have limitations.
They went to Cancun.
Probably. We know they have limitations. The offensive line's an issue. I hope people didn't buy into that, like those 2 wins when they played 2 bad teams, but just the play calling was crazy. Like the 3rd and short, 4th and short, and then you just run Woody Marks 2 straight times. It's like, guys, you can't run the football. Like, why are you doing this? It's just mind-boggling, some of the things that these coaches do. And then Nico Collins left late with a concussion.
Mm-hmm.
That probably cost people some wins, but yeah, it was not the most well-played game or game to watch.
Houston, I mean, the offensive performance was just so bad. And you thought it could get better at some point, but it never did. I mean, the stats when you looked at them, no running back rushed for more than 16 yards. Stroud completed less than 50% of his passes, had a quarterback rating of 59. That's horrible. It's just Yeah, it was just really bad. It didn't look good for them on at any time. Stroud completed 23 of 49 passes, 229 yards, was sacked 3 times. That he got that late touchdown. That I can't remember when that was, but it put them within a score at the time. But yes, the Seattle Seahawks, I mean, they just totally suffocated them. Houston Texans offense, and they looked good while doing it. JSN every single week, I feel like, is just a cheat code, and it just doesn't matter. It's just going to be JSN no matter what. And he caught 8 passes for 123 yards and a touchdown. And now the Seattle Seahawks, like I say, I think they look legit. So they're keeping pace in the NFC West and look good while doing it. Zach Charbonnet, our national nightmare, 2 touchdowns in this game. I don't know when that's ever going to end, but here we are.
Yeah, look, it's just going to continue. They've shown us what they're going to do, and when they get near the goal line, it's going to be Charbonnet. So he looked better in this game, though. I'll say that. He had a couple nice runs. Walker broke off a long run late, but it was his birthday, and he still couldn't even get any touchdowns.
We missed the birthday now?
I mean, no, we didn't. I mean, he gave us...
How did we miss that? Well, it's because we didn't shout him out on the air.
Miss it? What did we miss? 6.6 points?
No, we missed his birthday. If we would have shouted him out yesterday, he would have done better.
I mean, the coaches knew. They didn't give him any goal line carries.
Well,
how are we going to help?
So call him up.
Yeah, it's tough right now. And then even if you want to start Charbonnet too, you're reliant on those goal line touchdowns. Now, they might come. I mean, this offense is moving the ball. If JSN doesn't score, it's usually on the ground. But JSN, I mean, it's insane what he is doing at this point. And it's just every week. His lowest game this year is 79 receiving yards. He now has 5 100-yard games out of 7. And one of them that he just fell short was 96. And look at the targets, too. At least 10 targets in 4 games. He has 27 targets the last 2 weeks. It's just insane what he is doing right now. And he's getting open easily. Darnold is finding him. It feels like those two have had chemistry and played together for like 5 years with the
Yeah.
way they're operating. And, every game too, it's a long pass. I mean, his shortest pass uh, for his long in a game was yesterday at 26. That still put him over the prop. So, yeah, I think his prop was what, in the 80s yesterday? I mean,
Oh,
they're going to
really?
have to push it up to the 90s. And I think you're still taking the over at this point.
Definitely. It's just he looks good. He's a set it and forget it player. And my questions coming into the season were how good Sam Darnold was going to look, and he's answered those questions. Seattle Seahawks offensive line has as well. So it is really nice to see their offense. They put what they finished with 27 points in that game,
Yeah.
and that was on the number one scoring defense in the league. Prior to last night, the Houston Texans were just allowing 12.2 points per game. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean they did turn it over a couple times.
I didn't say it was pretty. I didn't.
Yeah, no, I mean
It
I don't know
wasn't
why
pretty.
I don't know why they're having Cooper Cup throw a pass when your
God, I know.
offense is rolling. Look, I understand that when these plays work, they look good, but the problem is these guys, the non quarterbacks, they don't throw the ball away. They think they can fit in every throw, and
Mhm.
that's the problem with them.
Yep.
They don't know when to throw it away. And I'm sure, yeah, it looks good. It works in practice. They work, all right, we're going to get this in the game. And it's like, all right, you got to know when to throw it away. And they don't.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. A good game nonetheless. Thank goodness for that would have been a bad day in Seattle. That was
Oh, if they
in
would have
both those
blown
games.
that too,
Oh
I
my
was like,
god.
but nah, there
No,
was
it was
no way
fine.
they were losing that game.
No.
No
No.
way.
I was just, a little bit scared from what happened earlier, but it's fine. Everything's fine. We move on. Tampa Bay, they're not going to move on though. Oh my gosh, Adam. I was at the start. That was at the very beginning of that game, right? Or towards the second quarter when Mike Evans went out. How long was he
Yeah.
in there for? Because I will be honest. I had to go back and watch that today because I was paying not enough attention to it yesterday. There's stuff going
Yeah,
on.
I think it was the second quarter, but yeah, he wound up finishing with no receptions, no yards.
Brutal.
Did get targeted 4 times. Baker Mayfield was off in this game.
Yeah.
He missed so many throws. I mean,
Yeah.
he had receivers open. He had Ibuka open a lot. He just missed. He was sailing throws. I mean, this was the worst game we've seen from Baker this year. 28 of 50. He was sacked 4 times, threw an interception. I mean, yeah, losing Mike Evans obviously hurts, but he's played without Evans this year and performed well. But yeah, Tampa Bay's offense just could do nothing in this game. It was, and Detroit let them hang around. I was like,
Yeah, they did.
this is not a team you want to let hang around. It was 14-3 at the half. It should have been probably a bigger deficit, and Detroit just let them hang in there. But Detroit's defense too is much better this year. I guess Aaron Glenn was the
Definitely.
problem.
Yeah, obviously was the problem. No, I'm kidding. But
No, you're not.
No, I am. I promise. Mike Evans, that's just a brutal blow. So if you didn't watch that game, again, we're talking about Tampa Bay. They lost this one 24-9 going up against the Lions, but they also lost Mike Evans. The team said so. It's a clavicle. It's a broken clavicle along with the concussion. But obviously the more important one that we're going to watch for is the clavicle injury. They said that he is going to miss most of the remaining regular season games. But Adam, of course, because I feel like they do this a lot. They did not say that it was a season-ending injury. So this might be one where we see him come back, but really for a playoff push for them more than anything else, which is just, again, really disappointing. If you had Mike Evans, you know why you drafted him. He's got the 11 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons to start his career, and it's one of those guys where you just said, okay, I'm going to go back to him because it's tried and true with him and Baker Mayfield. And he was already down with the hamstring injury this year, just came back for this game, and now he's going to be out. I won't say the remainder of the season because we just don't know. They didn't give us that timeline. They did not say season-ending injury, but it's going to be for most of the season now, which is so unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a tough break because you get a player like Evans back. You're excited. You expect him to step into a major role with all the injuries they've had at wide receiver. And then just like that, you put him in your lineup. Not only do you get a zero, but now he's going to miss an extended period of time. So just a tough break for everyone involved in that streak of 1,000 yards for
Ugh,
Mike Evans will come to an end.
that stinks. that just stinks. It's just awful. And Emeka Egbuka was back out there yesterday. To probably everyone's surprise, he was back out there. But we always say, hey, if the coaches and the player trust themselves and believes that they're in a good spot to go, then they're going to be able to go. He had 4 receptions for 58 yards. Kate Otten was the one that led the team in yards. Was tied with Sterling Shepard with receptions, 7 for 65. I think the player though that you would want if you were still picking guys up, and I don't think it's necessarily a locked in every single week, but would it not be Tez Johnson? Tez Johnson got more of the underlying work there. You're going to look at the box score, you're going to look at all the stats and say, okay, well, Tez Johnson 4 for 58, Sterling Shepard 7 for 25. But I think when we talk to Dwain, I'm going to ask him about this too. I think it is Tez Johnson as the guy that you would want off waivers.
Yeah, he's a playmaker. He's got speed. He's not the biggest guy, obviously, but he can make things happen after the catch. And I think Kate Otten as well. We talked
Yeah.
about this. We saw it last year, a stretch where Godwin and Evans were out, and Kate Otten had a nice stretch. And this was a game where he had 9 targets that tied for second on the team with Tez Johnson. So yeah, it would be those two. Baker put the ball in the air 50 times in this game. I'm hoping that Bucky Irvin returns next week. That would
Yeah,
be nice.
they
Could
couldn't
really
get
use
anything
him.
going on the ground.
Yeah. Look, Rashad White, we know, is not the most efficient back between the tackles, and Detroit's run defense is good. So you figured he would have to get it done in the passing game. And he did have 4 catches, but only for 6 yards. So this was a down game for White.
Mhm.
But this is, Buka now is the number one. And again, that's why I was aggressive drafting him, because I felt like either, Evans was older and Godwin was coming off an injury. Because some people were like, oh, well, Igbuka's not going to be the guy when those two come back. But the chances in my mind were kind of high that one, if not both, could get injured. I mean,
Yeah.
Godwin was coming off an injury. So that was a major concern. And Evans, again, is 32, and he's had a hamstring injury every year. And this was unfortunate, but Egbuka now is in a big role. And with Egbuka, look, I started him in a few leagues and had him on the bench in the other. It all depended. Did I have an option to go? And I usually, if the team, especially this situation, if Tampa Bay was really going to put him out here, they were 5-1 going into this game. They had a bye in week 9. There was
Yep.
no need to push him. And you had Mike Evans back. You didn't know at the time Evans was going to get hurt again. So if Tampa Bay was going to put him out there, a young player that was so critical to this team's success, I said, all right, I'll roll the dice and play him. And he only had 4 for 58, but he was open a lot. It could have been a much bigger game. Baker missed him deep. He had to come back for the ball. There was another play in the end zone where it was broken up, and it was just Baker was off with his throws. Just
Yeah.
an uncharacteristic game that we haven't seen from Baker much this year.
We kind of figured though that one of these games was going to bring him back down a little bit. I
Oh,
just didn't
yeah.
think it would look like I didn't think it would look like that last night. On the other side, and the one other thing about Chris Godwin was that, especially during draft season, we kept getting those reports saying, well, he had another procedure, and like, oh, we're going to make sure that he's going to come back at his own pace. And Emeka Egbuka, us drafting him, had nothing to do with the injury, but all that stuff just kind of culminated into okay, we need to just continue drafting Emeka Egbuka pretty early, because it felt like it felt like, at least with the injuries, like you said, the age to both of those receivers, Evans and Godwin, that there was a chance he would get more work. And now here we are. We never want injuries, but that's what we were looking at with Emeka Egbuka. On the other side of this, Jahmyr Gibbs, I guess,
He's
is the
good.
one. He's all right. You can just start him every single time, I
Pretty good.
guess. Total 218 yards from scrimmage, scored 2 touchdowns, and again, this team won this game 24-9. I rushed for 136 yards, 17 carries, 82, added the 82 yards receiving on 3 catches. Yeah, he's fine. He's good. Better than Jameson Williams. Let's just say that.
Oh, boy. The Jameson Williams and
Experience is
experience.
not good.
They paid him all that money, too.
That's always what confuses at least me. I just, but there's so many mouths to feed there, and we said we kind of knew which one it could be, but we always said someone's going to get squeezed out, whether it was going to be Laporta or Jameson Williams. It was never going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown. David Montgomery had a down game in this one, but obviously I just said the stats for Jahmyr Gibbs, so you could kind of see why.
Yeah, I think with Montgomery, you do not want to play him against the good run defense. I don't care who Gibbs is facing. Like, so we talked about Cleveland's run defense, right? How good it is. And, Gibbs had 91 yards against them. So Gibbs, to me, matchup proof. I don't care how good the defense is. Like, someone asked me this week, hey, I know this sounds crazy, but do I bench Gibbs for Judkins? I was like, what?
No,
Come on,
no.
man. I'm never benching Gibbs
That's
for
nice,
anyone.
though. I wish I
Yeah.
had that problem.
I don't care what the matchup is. I think with Montgomery, you do have to look at it, right? Because you saw it in this one. I mean, some of those carries came late when they were milking the clock, but, against tough run defenses we've seen. So Montgomery went up against Cleveland, 9 carries, 12 yards. Tampa, 13 for 21. So for Montgomery, he's very dependent on a touchdown too. Like he has to come through. But we knew going into the year that his role was likely going to be scaled back, because when you have a back like Jahmyr Gibbs, you got to give him the football because he can take it to the house on any play, as we saw in that 78-yard run. So, Montgomery's going to get 10, 12 touches a game. And if he doesn't score a touchdown, he's going to give you a dud performance like last night.
Yep. Still good for any Jahmyr Gibbs managers out there. So you were happy with that one. Again, Seattle Seahawks are going into their bye week. So there's, we'll talk about them a little bit more here. We'll watch out for Mike Evans, but it looks like he will be done for most of the regular season remaining games. And then we'll also keep an eye on Nico Collins with his injury as well. They already had their bye in week 6. So that was an early bye. So these players, you're going to be able to, for the Texans, I should say, play the rest of the way here. We're going to continue on. It is that time. Utilization report is live at fantasylife.com, 100% free by the one and only Dwain McFarland. So we're breaking all of that down. Waiver wire article is live as well. So make sure you head over to our website. We're talking with Dwain next. Oh, you hear the walk-up music and you already know it's time for Dwain McFarland and the utilization report right here on Fantasy Life, Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. This is brought to you by DraftKings. Welcome to the utilization report. Dwain, how's it going? How you doing?
I am good, Kendall. I've been crunching the numbers, man. So it's always a great day when you get to crunch the numbers and hang out with you and Ronis.
There we go. I mean, yeah, it is just a dream. You could stay the whole time. You want to stay for 2 hours? Or are you busy? You're busy.
I mean, yeah, why not? Let's just do it. Let's just roll with it.
Let's just try it out. The utilization report, again, 100% free at fantasylife.com. We'll tweet it out here as well. Make sure you go and check it out. Oronde Gadsden. Dwain, that's kind of where I want to start, and just seeing what you're seeing. You said he's playing a near full-time role, and just kind of your expectations for him moving forward based on all the utilization that you've seen.
Yeah, Oronde Gadsden is why you have to weed the weekly ranking updates, the weekly ranking updates. Goodness gracious, it's Friday, it's Thursday on a Tuesday.
I know.
Anyway, usually I can pronounce things until about Thursday afternoon show with Ian. Like I start stumbling over my words due to I don't know, being tired or something. But yeah, Oronde Gadsden. Kendall, I had him as the sicko call of the week last week. And really, I try to focus those players on guys that, like, look, if it goes right again, they're also probably going to be a really high waiver wire claim. So you get a player you could use for the week, but also, man, if it goes right, you're like, whew, I kind of beat that, because he was available in 99% of Yahoo leagues last week. And we had already seen the semi breakout from him in week 6 when he had a 77% route participation. Well, he did that again in week 7, had a 77% as well. Obviously scored more fantasy points, 29.4. He gave you a utilization score of 93, and that's on a scale of 0 to 100, guys. So when you have a 93, like, you're pretty happy with your grade, right? Or your kid's grade. You're like, oh man, good job, Johnny. Way to go. Good job, Kendall. Way to go. Way to go. The Seattle Mariners ball girl here with us today. Or was it a bat girl?
No,
you're ball girl.
Oh yeah. I was out there. Yeah. I was out there.
Yeah, you were on the field. You were fielding strays.
Exactly.
If it went
saving people. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, you were saving people from heaters at their head. And Gadsden is zinging heaters at DB's heads right now. Kendall, how about that transition?
Nice. Wow.
So, if we're looking at Gadsden the rest of the way in the utilization report, and again, folks can check that all out for free over at fantasylife.com. But I put 2 scenarios in there. And one is that, we assume that Gadsden really has taken over this role, which is where I lean to, Kendall. because I mean he's ripped this job away from Will Disley as well as Tyler Conklin. Disley got hurt, but now that he's come back, Gadsden's the lead guy. Tyler Conklin is essentially not doing anything anymore. So seeing a rookie like this do this, like we definitely have to wake up and pay attention. Now it's still a crowded offense. We've got Ladd McConkey, we've got Quentin Johnston, who had been dealing with a hamstring injury. Of course, we have Keenan Allen doing his thing as well. So I put two scenarios in here, and one is that you just look at the last 2 weeks and you want to go with that from his utilization score. And it's really high, Kendall. It would be very rare error. 85% of his comps would have finished as a tight end 1 to 6 based on 13 comps I have going back to 2020 with the utilization score. But it's a 2-week sample we would be going with. So I think like the best approach with him is like you expand it out a little bit, even though he wasn't in a full-time role the week before. But it just kind of helps because we know what can happen in these small samples. But still, his utilization score comes in as a 73. And that would give us 36 comparisons since 2020, and they've averaged 10.7 points, with 81% of them finishing as a top 12 tight end. And I think that's a good description for Gadsden. I think he's a low-end tight end 1 right now, but the other scenario does paint the ceiling up, the upside, because like what if McConkey had to miss a couple of games, or what if Keenan Allen? We never want players to be injured, but we've already seen Quentin Johnston miss 1 game. I really think that Gadsden is the guy in line that if one of those things happen, like you could see even more, because like, let's be realistic. This is a receiver. This is not a tight end.
Yeah.
This guy is an absolute receiver. So in an offense that wants to throw the ball, I mean, we've got one of the highest drop back rates over expected with the Chargers. You've got a good quarterback in Justin Herbert. The offensive line should be getting healthier. So yeah, absolutely love Gadsden. Again, low end tight end 1 the rest of the way, but he obviously offers upside from there. Still available in 96% of Yahoo leagues as of this morning.
Yeah, and we know that number is going to come crashing down as everyone scrambles to get him. And it was funny because like I was looking at him last week in some leagues, and I was pretty good at the tight end position. I did pick him up in 1 as my 3rd tight end. Now I wish I did it in more. Because, you know, there was last week, there was a lot of tight ends that you could have gotten, right, to fill in.
Yeah.
And you look at him and you're like, well, it was 1 week. And now you look back, you're like, damn, I should have spent
And that's
more.
kind of what I wrote up last week, Ronis, was look, there are actually guys that project better for this 1 week. And it was a weird week because we had Michael Mayer, we had Cade Otton.
Mason Taylor, if he was available.
Yeah, you had Mason Taylor if he was available, and we had so many injuries and things that were opening up doors for a potentially larger role in 1 week. And to your point, we only had the 1 game on Gadsden, but what I had written is that he was still probably, of all those guys, the best long-term pickup besides potentially Mason Taylor. And that's just kind of the way that it played out. You know, we'll see what it looks like from here, but I think a lot of positives.
Travis Hunter finally scored a touchdown, and we saw a lot more targets before the bye week. How encouraged should we be about him going forward?
Yeah, I think we have to look at this as being a positive. The question is like, how rose-colored do you want your rose-colored glasses to be, you know, on Travis Hunter? And I think the thing that we can do in situations like this, Ronis, is we're so excited for the young player, number 2 pick overall. We obviously know he was an outstanding prospect coming in, you know, playing 2 ways and doing everything. He's just a very rare player that we want to be excited about. And so I think our natural gravitation is to like, want to overdo it. And so really what I did with Travis Hunter's profile is I painted out 3 potential scenarios and let it be an eye of the beholder kind of thing. Like, what do you want to believe around Travis Hunter? Because the honest answer is we can't predict what coaches will do. Like, we really don't know. They could come out of the bye and decide that they want to play him more on defense. No one wants to hear that, but that could be their decision coming out of the bye. Or it could be, you know what? He looked really good in these last 2 games where his route participation reached season highs of 86 and 89%. And, you know, he had something to our offense. We want to use him more there. But we don't know the answer. So I really painted 3 different scenarios here, like I mentioned. One would be, hey, you want to assume that Hunter's role over the last 2 games is here to stay. Okay. Yeah. And in that scenario, we would be giving him credit because I take the utilization score down to the last 4 games, which is really when his route participation started to come up. Oh, sorry, this is over the last 2 games. And that gives him credit for the 22% target share, a lot of things that like you would expect to improve if he has this larger role. And in that scenario, 39% of his historical comps were wide receiver 2s, 40% were wide receiver 3s. There is a chance 2% were wide receiver 1 to 12 Ronis, so wide receiver 1s. But you still have 18% of them that came in as wide receiver 4s. And I think that's like a pretty reasonable way to think about it. We want everything to be black and white, but what this scenario would tell you is most likely you have a wide receiver 2 or a wide receiver 3 on your hands. And I think that's like a sober-minded thinking, okay, I feel really good about Hunter, but I'm not going to go overboard. Now, there are those folks that are like, no, man, he's too good. Like that's painting him with too narrow of a brush. So I also did a little more research and said, okay, great. Scenario 2, what if he expands his role and he plays even better after the bye? Okay, great. But here's the challenge. Rookie performances for wide receivers that went in the first round, going back to 2015, their actual fantasy points per game, and this is funny because no one says this. Everyone says it's the opposite of this, but their actual fantasy production per game went down 9% over the last 10 years and the rest of the season versus the first 7 weeks. So I throw that out there, but great. You want to ignore that. You're like, I don't care. This is Travis Hunter. He's going to improve. So I did narrow it down more and say, okay, because that's just round 1 picks. What if it's a player taken, in the top 12 of the draft? So the top third of the draft, and the same thing came out. Fantasy points per game went from 13.3 to 10.9. Routes went from 80 to 77%. Targets went from 22 to 20. So there's real history here of not necessarily, and I'm not saying this is going to happen to Hunter. Fantasy winning seasons are made up of outliers, but you do hear folks say, oh, rookies just get better as the year goes. The data actually shows a little bit of the opposite on these guys that are getting playing time, earlier in the season, like we're starting to see Hunter do. But regardless, if you just want to say, no, I really just want to go with Travis Hunter being awesome, then I would say, look at him as being a wide receiver 2 with more upside to hit the wide receiver 1 bucket. I think that's I think you're being slightly aggressive, but it's okay. Like that can be your choice. But there is a scenario 3, and that's that his role experiences volatility the rest of the year based on also playing defense. And just all the other things they have. Last week, Brian Thomas Jr. missed time in the game. De'Ami Brown missed time in the game. And so that potentially is part of where the increased reps came from. So we just have to look at all the scenarios. But in that run out, which would be the worst one for Hunter, you're basically hoping he's a wide receiver 3. 29% of his comps would be wide receiver 3s. And all I did for that role is I just used his utilization score for the year and said, hey, it's going to probably land somewhere in here. We're going to have games that are going to be better, games that he's going to get to play less, but we don't know for sure. And so in that scenario, like you're probably wanting to sell high on Hunter if that's how you feel, So scenario 1 is probably a hold or a buy. Scenario 2, you're definitely buying if you just want to be all in on the player. But scenario 3 is if you're worried about those things and they are a reality, then you would sell Hunter at this point. So my final takeaway is like I really lean to that scenario that he's probably a wide receiver 2 or 3 for the rest of the fantasy season. And then if you want to base on how you would approach moving him or trading for him, like that's how you would evaluate him.
I know we're going to get a ton of Travis Hunter questions going into this week, Dwain. So it was good to hear that you like the scenario 1 in that situation more
Which
than
is the
anything
balanced
else.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of the middle one.
It's just, Dwain, you're balanced. You just go right in the middle, and that's what we love about you. So there you go. We're gonna go. I want to ask about, because I see the Panthers backfield. This is what you wrote up, and then you said looking like the Seahawks, which is a jump scare, Dwain, based on things that we've talked about and seen between Kenneth Walker. Zach Charbonnet had the 2 touchdowns last night. So where are we at now with Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard coming back from his first game after that calf injury?
Yeah, total jump scare. A really good analogy there, Kendall. So my 2 boys love to scare Zoe. They hide around corners from her. They wait for her to come walking by, and they jump out and they scare her. Now she does it back to them. She's gotten old enough where she does it back. So yeah, we have a lot of jump scares going on in this house. And even though Rico Dowdle looks like he's got the better jump cut right now, they went back to this really being a rotation, between the 2 guys. Now, Rico Dowdle did get a larger role than what we had seen before his breakout performance over the last 2 games. So it is a positive still for Rico Dowdle for the rest of the year. Here's the challenge, is what you mentioned. It really looks like the Seahawks backfield, where you don't know each week which guy is really going to do the scoring. And so in this scenario, what we saw was 54% of the rush or of the snaps to Hubbard, 46% to Dowdle. And they continue to give Dowdle more of the carries, 53 to 44%, but they gave Hubbard the passing down role. So
Yep.
what does that sound like? That sounds like Seattle, where they're giving the pass downs more to Charbonnet, giving a slight edge to, in some games, to Kenneth Walker, but it can turn into a hot hand at any moment. We don't know for sure what's going to happen. So it's really a lot like the Seahawks. And there's other similarities as well. Like if you look at this team over the last several weeks, they've really, they've turned into more of a run heavy kind of team since their bye week. They've got a -6% drop back rate over expected. Who does that sound like? The Seahawks. Yeah. They're very committed to their ground game. So even though they're willing to run the ball a lot more, and theoretically that creates a larger pie for these running backs, it's still not enough. And they both came out very similarly this last week in utilization score at 56 and 55. And here are the comparisons. So you can just use this for both players, Kendall, but only 7% of them were top 24 running backs. 45% of them were running back threes, 38% of them were running back fours. So we probably have a scenario without an injury. Maybe one of them squeaks into running back 2 territory. I think it's fine if you want to place your chip on Dowdle for that, just with how well he's played. But most likely, they're both running backs 3, or one of them is a running back 3 and the other one's a running back 4. Like, that's just what the data tells us. I know it's not what anyone wants to hear. And yes, the Panthers have been a more efficient team as far as getting to the red zone. 3 drives per game reaching the red zone. That's a pretty good mark. But even with that, like, the utilization score is accounting for all that. And so it's just a challenge. So I think they're both guys you got to keep on your roster.
Yeah.
But when you can avoid starting them, you want to. Obviously, you probably won't be able to do that this week. You get 6 teams on bye. That can be a challenge. But ultimately, we need one player to take control of the backfield. We need more of a 60-40 kind of split. We could live with that. But when we get in these 55-45 scenarios, it's just historically really bad. I don't want to say really bad, but not guys you're super excited about starting in your fantasy lineups. You're like, well, cross my fingers, hope Kenneth Walker gets a touchdown. You're going to be saying the same thing for Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle.
Which is just crazy that we're saying that for the Seahawks backfield in general, Dwayne, but it's fine. Like, Adam and I have been going back and forth on that, and we just because, and Zach Charbonnet did look better last night, but prior to that, it's not like he had been running away with anything. He just hadn't looked elite, and so that's why we were, we just talked and said, okay, maybe it's because they want to keep Kenneth Walker healthy. We don't know, but it's just so frustrating.
Yeah, and the eye test tells us even late in that game, it's like, why don't you just give Kenneth Walker more work? Because yes, Charbonnet ran good early, but he had really big holes. Imagine if what happens in the run game is it comes down, and Eric Eager, who used to be with PFF, he did research on this. He's now with the Panthers. Kendall, formerly working for PFF. Eager's a great guy. Yeah. And he had done a study a while back that really the run game comes down to the perfectly blocked plays every game. And so that's essentially when every lineman does their job, the running back is going to have a successful play. And so you only get so many of those a game. And so in my opinion, really you're playing a game of odds. You just want your better back out there so that when those plays unfold, they're the player that's on the field. And right now, it could go against you, right? You could just get unlucky and Kenneth Walker's out there for the plays that he gets 0 of those. Same thing for Chuba or Rico Dowdle, and the other guy gets all of them. But most likely it's just kind of split, and each of them gets like 1 or 2 plays that look like that in the game. And then that becomes a challenge because it takes away the big play upside. So it's now look, these guys all have massive contingency value. If either one of the other players got hurt on both of these teams we're talking about, the other back immediately is in the running back 1 conversation. Obviously, we've already seen it from Rico Dowdle this year. But it's a challenge when everyone is healthy, which we hate to say because we want the players all to be healthy.
Yeah, of course. We don't want injuries, but yeah, it is definitely frustrating to watch. Again, this was the utilization report presented by DraftKings. New DraftKings Pick 6 customers play $5 or more on your first pick set. Get $50 in bonus picks. That's right. All you need to do is play $5 or more on your first entry, and you'll get $50 in bonus picks instantly. Don't miss your shot to ride the upside. Download DraftKings Pick 6. Get in on all the action and sign up using Dwayne's promo code FANTASYLIFE. And we always thank DraftKings Pick 6 for getting us through this utilization report, Dwayne. We appreciate it. Hopefully we get to talk to you next week.
Yeah, you will get to talk to me
next week. Thank goodness. Let us know if you want to come back, if at any time, you're just sitting there bored, we've got another 2 hours here, so you can just pop on back.
Yeah, all I'll say is I'm happy to join. I love hanging out with you guys. Folks can go check out the whole utilization report over at fantasylife.com. If you're tired of getting washed around by the weekly takes of, overreactions. Like that's the whole reason I created the utilization score, is so that we could then broaden it out and look at the comparisons across these other players and think about a range of outcomes instead of, oh my God, Woody Marks is a running back 1. Oh my
Yeah.
God, this guy's a running back 2. Like there's really a broader range on this stuff, and hopefully folks like it.
Amazing. They do. Come on. They do. We appreciate it, Dwain. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Awesome. See you guys then.
All right. We're doing waiver wire names to know here coming up next. Time for waiver wire names to know heading into week 8. Adam, are we already doing week 8? Really? I can't say midseason form anymore because we're already there. I have to say Super Bowl form.
It is crunch time, right?
Yeah,
Making that playoff push.
time.
It's funny. I'm in some leagues where it's like so many teams are like bunched up, 4-3, 3-4.
That has to be the GST league.
Well, that league, I don't know if you've seen, the standings are messed up. Everyone was given a tie last night. Yeah.
Oh.
A couple people already messaged me about it. So.
Get me that win, Adam. Come on.
I'll take a tie since I lost.
Yeah, no, you get the L. I get to. Wow, that's weird. It's just been.
Yeah, a couple of people messaged me about it. So hopefully, I mean, again, it's beyond my control, but hopefully they'll take care of it and it'll be resolved today. If not, I'll have to message them.
There you go. I like it.
But you did get the dub, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you did. You were.
I can't see. It's not. I don't know. It's not loading for me. But
well,
you can give me the win no matter what.
If you actually click on the actual live scoring, oh no, you lost.
Oh, did I? I know he had JSN.
Yeah, that's why.
That was high. That was high
Gibbs.
Scoring. And Gibbs, yeah, that was high scoring.
But you put up a nice amount of points.
Yeah,
so
I had a nice weekend of points, so that was good. Okay, waiver wire names to know. This article is live at fantasylife.com if you guys want to go and check that out. 100% free as always. Starting with the quarterback situation. So I didn't mention this at the top of the show because we went through the Monday Night Football games, but we do have a couple of updates when we're looking at Jaden Daniels for quarterback help if you guys need it. So Jaden Daniels looks like he avoided serious injury, which is good, Adam, but the status for him going into this weekend is still up in the air. It's again a hamstring injury, so you want to monitor that. Lamar Jackson was not practicing yesterday. I don't know if do you care about that, or we care about the Wednesday, Thursday practices?
Yeah, not yet. It's a little discouraging because they had a bye that he wasn't out there, but not yet.
Okay. And then Mike McDaniels is sticking with Tua Tagovailoa going into this weekend as well. So we're going to continue to monitor those. But I do think if Joe Flacco is still available in some leagues, it's not going to be the Icy Hot Bowl week in and week out. The Bengals take on the Jets, but we know that he just has a really good set of weapons. And with Jamar Chase, he's just like, screw it. Jamar Chase is down there somewhere, and I'm just going to throw it up there. And you still have T. Higgins. Chase Brown in that game last week got things going on the ground as well. So, again, it's not going to be every single week where he's putting up points like we saw. But I do think, thrown for 342, 3 touchdowns, we have to pay attention to it. He's only 11% rostered as well.
Yeah, we also have to keep in mind that there are 6 teams on bye this week, so you could be missing a quarterback. I mean, it's not the top quarterbacks, but
it's not
Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford. I mean, Kyler Murray, you've been replacing him. Arnold, Lawrence, Geno, so not a lot, but still, maybe we mentioned Jaden Daniels. Maybe you had him and you cut the backup because you're like, all right, I'm rolling with him the rest of the way. Or maybe you were anticipating Lamar Jackson being back and we're not 100% sure. I do think, this matchup against the Jets, Jets defense has played solid the last couple weeks, but Sauce Gardner did suffer a concussion. So that's something to keep an eye on. And he gets the extra 10 days as well to maybe learn the playbook a little bit more since he didn't know some of the plays. It didn't matter. Still went out there and balled out.
He's
so
like, I don't even know what's going on out there.
Yeah.
He still put up points like that. So, yeah.
I wonder if I don't think he's probably available in Superflex. I would think as soon as Cincinnati picked him up,
probably not. Added. Yeah, I don't think so. Same with, I'm going to continue mentioning Jaxson Dart because he's still 2 available in some leagues. I think if you're listening, if he's out there, he's definitely someone to go and get because he's just proven like he's probably the top waiver priority ad this week. But again, he's probably not going to be available for most people. He's averaging 198 passing yards, 8.9 rushing attempts per game. So this is a team where we said this was going to be a gauntlet of teams that they were facing, but they've really stepped up. They get the Eagles again this week. We know what happened a couple weeks ago when they played them the first time this year. So I also think he's a name to know. Someone we've talked about before, and I've just been stashing all year, and this is not a start start immediately player, but Kyle Monangai got some work for the Bears over the weekend. 34% of the rushing attempts, handled 46% of the snaps. He's obviously the RB2, but Swift got a little bit banged up in that game, so this is just one to say he's available in 93% of leagues, and I do think he's a really strong running back stash if you can get him.
Yeah, I have him on the bench in a couple leagues, and I don't know if we're starting him yet. I mean, this is a week, though, with 6 teams on bye. I have to look. There might be a roster where I will.
You might be doing it.
Yeah. I guess the other thing, too, to keep in mind is, we've seen, Ben Johnson with that 2 running backs in Detroit. Is that something he's trying to do? Because this was, we've seen the playing time increase. They also just ran the ball extremely well.
They didn't need to do much.
They didn't do much passing wise. Yeah. So, but it's still someone I think that you want to at least have on your roster if he's available.
I've got more names to know. Definitely some deeper sleepers at running back and the wide receiver position, and of course we'll break down some tight ends here coming up next. Fantasy Life right here on this Tuesday morning. Hopefully you guys are having a great start to your day. Or else you're Mariners fans, Adam. It's fine. I know you're not. Just take it in stride. That was awful, by the way. Can I say that one more time? I would have rather lost by 10.
No, you wouldn't have.
Yes, I would. Would you not have rather have gotten blown out in that game? I think I would have.
I don't know.
You held a lead almost the whole time.
I know. That George Springer guy, he's pretty good.
It's the worst. I would have. I can't even talk about it. I won't even talk about it. It's fine. I'll be rooting for the Dodgers now. What about you?
Blue Jays.
Gosh, whatever.
What do you mean?
Whatever.
The Dodgers are going to win anyway.
I know they are. They're just too good. They're too good. Waivers might be kind of good for people this week, depending on what your league size is and everything in between. Brashard Smith, that's the other running back that I wanted to ask you about, because sometimes we have to look and say, okay, is this real or is this fake? A little bit of flash in the pan. So he played a really big role. Kareem Hunt had an early injury, but if I remember right, Kareem Hunt came back though,
he did.
In that game. So Brashard Smith finished week 7, 36% snap share, 41% of the rushing attempts, which was big. And then he also shined in the passing game. So we know that this was a blowout by the Chiefs, right? It was 31-0 going up against the Raiders. But I will say Brashard Smith still had some early work in the game as well. He's available in 94% of leagues right now. Would be another stash option. It's kind of the same as us talking about Kyle Monangai, and he has actually a little bit of a tougher go of getting up there because they still do have Isaiah Pacheco. They still obviously have Kareem Hunt. But if an injury were to occur to either of those two guys, I feel like Brashard Smith would fit in nicely as a starter.
Yeah, we've mentioned him here and there, and I do have him stashed on a couple of teams. This game, though, it's difficult to take anything away from it because the Raiders ran 30 plays. Now, he was involved a little bit earlier in the game with the starters. A lot of the carries came late. He's really good in the passing game, former wide receiver. He had 5 catches for 42 yards. So maybe he plays that role. Pacheco has been better the last few games, and, he did finally score a touchdown. So, yeah, I think it's more of someone that you're putting on your bench and seeing if the role can grow. But I don't think we could take a lot away from what we saw this past week against Vegas.
No, Vegas they looked so bad. How many plays did they run?
30. I didn't
That's
see.
insane.
I'm sure someone probably had a note somewhere like, what's the last time like someone ran that few plays? Because that's insane. 30
I'll look that
plays.
Up in the break. I know. I said you and I could do
nothing.
That. No, you were barely out there. It's crazy. That's why I say you kind of have to be careful when looking at stats from that game. But still, I think a good name to know. Okay, I wrote up Colston Loveland. And I'm curious where you're at with him because he's only 22% rostered right now. And it hasn't been pretty for Colston Loveland. If you drafted him, we always said make sure to grab a second guy because he was one where we'd have to wait to see what the Bears were going to do with him. Cole Kmet did suffer a back injury though. And that I think could keep him off the field in week 8. So when one guy goes down, we know a door opens for another, and that would be Colston Loveland. So he was good in the rookie supermodel. We talked him up during draft season as well, and I think he does offer upside. It's just if they're going to go to him or not. But he's very available across a lot of leagues.
By the way, fewest plays run in a game, 28 by the Browns.
They were close. What year?
In 1999 against the Steelers.
Geez.
Raiders second fewest at 30. So damn, that is insane.
So embarrassing.
Yeah, with Loveland, look, we want to see his role grow. If Komet misses time, obviously that opens up some snaps. But again, we're just not seeing a lot of production in this passing offense. Even Romo Dunze, the last 2 weeks,
Yeah.
his numbers have come down. DJ Moore has kind of been a disappointment. Luther Burden looks good when he gets the ball, but I guess you could look at Loveland if you're desperate in a more shallow format. I mean, deeper format where maybe some of the other tight ends we mentioned are taken. But yeah, it's just crazy that they spent such an early pick on
I
him,
know.
and we just haven't seen him involved. Like we knew Cole Kmet was there making money and everything, but this was a new coaching staff, and uh, you draft Loveland over Tyler Warren too.
Yeah. That's the I think that's the more brutal part of the situation there. So
And Loveland could still be good, and
no,
maybe he
he can
even
be.
winds up being better, but it's not the start
We
that
haven't
you
seen it
wanted. Like,
yet.
why did you draft him so early then?
Just to make us draft him in fantasy, probably, right? You're thinking let's mess with them a little bit.
Probably.
The other one I wanted to mention here, because I do think this is more when we're looking at Chimere Dike, tight end Titans wide receiver here. This feels like more of a flash in the pan, right? I wouldn't spend too much money on him. He was the leader in yards when we're looking at him, caught all 4 of his targets, 70 yards and a touchdown this one. Calvin Ridley wasn't out there. We said that maybe they could get a little bit of a bump since Brian Callahan was fired. And we did see, I mean, we saw a little bit of a bump,
Yeah,
but
for the first quarter.
yeah, for the first quarter. You're right. I wouldn't spend, if anything, I would get him if you can get him for $0. I just don't necessarily like him. I still wrote him up for those deeper formats, but that's about it.
Yeah, for deeper formats, but we'll see.
Be
Ridley
careful.
could be back. I don't know if it's this week, but yeah, tough to
Well,
trust
he
that
doesn't do
offense right
anything
now.
either, so
Yeah, that's true.
it's because you drafted him everywhere. That's why. We're going to the water cooler news and notes, taking your phone calls, all your messages as well. We're going to do that coming up next. Oh, fantasy football is life. This is fantasy life right here in the water cooler with you now. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis, going through all the news and notes that you need to know heading into week 8 already. We're going through some injury reports here. We are going to go through all your questions as well. Phone number to call in 888-963-2682, or you can press that new call in button on the Sirius XM app. You can also send us a message over there on X at KValenzuela17 at Adam Ronis. We see some of them coming in right now, so we'll try and get to as many as we can today. And as always, fantasylife.com, that is the direction I am always going to point you in, because that is where you can get all of our articles 100% free. Same with the newsletter in your inbox 7 days a week, so you can get all this news in the morning while you're getting ready, while you're setting those lineups on Sundays. And right now you can get Fantasy Life Plus for free if you download Comet. It is an AI powered browser. Fantasylife.com/Comet, Comet, is where you want to go. It takes about 2 minutes. I've done it. I use Comet right now as well. So you can get Fantasy Life Plus for free. All of our projections, all of our rankings, everything at your disposal. So fantasylife.com/Comet, Comet, is where you want to go. Just making sure we go through the news that we talked about at the top here, Adam. We've got Nico Collins in the concussion protocol. Hopefully he is going to be able to go this week since the Texans already had their bye. And then Mike Evans, so unfortunate, but he did fracture his clavicle in that game last night. Todd Bowles did say that he is going to be out for most of the remaining regular season games. They did not call it a season-ending injury, Adam, so probably just in case they go to the playoffs, he might be available for them, but if you have him, you know you're not going to be able to use him for quite some time here. I think the biggest takeaway, if we're talking waivers, it was Tez Johnson that had a little bit better usage in this game once he went out. Cade Otton as well for tight ends. I put a bid on Cade Otton for the week because I'm going to be missing Sam Laporta. We've got 6 teams on a bye because the NFL hates our fantasy teams, but that's okay. This is the only time that we're going to have 6 teams gone for a week. So that was a big blow for Tampa Bay, but they got Emeka Egbuka back out there. And I think Tez Johnson's the one you want to pick up, and Cade Otton.
Yes, those two certainly look to be next in play. Igbuka obviously is going to be the number 1 here. And, Otten had 9 targets, had a solid game. So there's room for him right now. I haven't seen any updates on Chris Godwin. I would not be counting on him for most of the year anyway. Jalen McMillan, they did say
Yeah,
like
he could
midway
be
through the
close.
year,
Yeah.
but haven't really seen anything on him. So pay attention to that as they've just been hit hard by injuries at wide receiver. It really hasn't impacted Baker Mayfield until yesterday, where he really did not have a good game, missed a lot of throws. And with Nico Collins, it's going to be a challenge with that concussion happening late Monday night. They play Sunday. So, you got to go through those 5 steps of the protocol. So it could be a challenge for Nico Collins to get out there this week.
And it's tough with the Texans because they just have looked so bad this season that it's really hard. If Nico Collins isn't out there, we know that Christian Kirk also wasn't out there. So maybe the rookies, Jaden Higgins, I think is more than rostered where I didn't write him up. Jalen Knoll, also another person. But again, Adam, this team just doesn't look good. So I don't know if you want to be going to the next man up. Xavier Hutchinson is another one, but I don't know if we want to be going down that depth chart and saying, well, who could step up here? Jaden Higgins again is that rookie, and he's more than 45% rostered. So wasn't going to mention him, but Jalen Knoll's the other one that maybe he gets a little bit more.
Yeah, Noel had more targets in this game, and finally 7 targets, and then maybe Dalton Schultz as well. He had 10 targets in this game. So, yeah, I think, look, someone's got to catch the ball in this offense. So if Nico's out, it's Noel and Schultz would be the 2 to look at.
Yeah. What's their schedule? So they're at home
They're
against
home to the 49ers, and
You
they're
said they
somehow
were favored
by 1.5, which
that's gonna change by the
I
time
know
we get there.
I know their defense is good, and I'm not saying San Francisco's great. They found a way to go to 5-2, and it looks like Mac Jones is probably starting again because
Man, that injury to Brock Purdy, that's
the comments from Shanahan. He said something like it's not looking good for Purdy to play this week, so maybe that's a factor. I mean, they could get Ricky Pearsall back. I would think George Kittle doesn't play offensive line this week and actually might catch some passes.
no.
I mean, look,
if we put him in our starting lineups, he's definitely just going to block the whole time.
It helped Christian McCaffrey. I mean, that was the best running performance of his season. As if he needs more help. I mean, he gets it done in the passing game.
Gosh, he just has everything. It's just
McCaffrey has more receiving yards than rushing this year.
Really?
Yeah, by like quite a bit.
I was going to say by a lot.
516 receiving yards, 465 rushing, and that's on the strength of 129 yards this past week, which was by far a season high. I mean, McCaffrey was held under 60 rushing yards in 5 straight games before this week.
24 carries like 2 days ago, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns. And
it was the McCaffrey show. No one else joined the party.
Did you see they called it it was National Running Backs Day? Did you see that on the broadcast?
I mean, this is National Tight End Week, so Kittle has to go off, right? This is 2 touchdowns from Kittle this week.
Yeah, should we do 2 for him, 2 for Travis Kelce?
Kelce plays Monday though, so does that count?
I think it counts, yeah. Well, he's going to be, it's an island game. He's got to put on a show for his holiday.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun game.
Who is it?
Against Washington with potentially no Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, that's fantastic. CMC's a cheat code. And right now it's looking, who would have thought though, midway through the season, we would have said Christian McCaffrey's the only healthy guy on that team. I think that's just
the irony of that.
We know nothing. I think that's what we know absolutely nothing. I will say, with that win, Mac Jones made like another $400,000 or something. The contract that he has, so with him winning the 4th game, and he took at least 25% of the snaps, he earned $400,000 against the Falcons, and he'll earn an extra $100,000 for each additional win this season, in which he's on the field for at least a 4th of the offensive plays. So there you go. Keep racking up the money. Get paid.
Yeah, he has not played great the last 2 weeks, but he's at least kept them in the game to win one of the 2. He hasn't thrown a touchdown pass the last 2 games and has 3 interceptions.
Okay, well, he's made $400,000 though, so he's fine.
Yeah, it's a lot more than we make it.
He's feeling good about it. Put us out there, Shanahan. We could do that.
I can hand it off to McCaffrey and get out of the way.
We can do that. Come on, let us out there. Again, the phone number to call in 888-963-2682. Just to hit off the other injury, a little bit more injury news off the top here. I just wanted to mention Jaden Daniels' hamstring injury is quote not significant, but his availability for that game against Kansas City is up in the air. So again, it's just how we've been treating the Jaden Daniels injuries so far. Same with Brock Purdy. If you have those guys, we're assuming that you have a backup already in place. But just make sure to go and get someone just in case he's not good to go. Same thing with Lamar. Although I will say, and you said this earlier, Adam, we're watching for the Wednesday practice reports. I got a ton of messages yesterday when he wasn't out there. And I understand it because they're coming off the bye. So you would have expected him to maybe get a little bit of work in. But he is still out right now with that hamstring. I believe he's going to go this week, but just have someone ready just in case he doesn't. And then Mike McDaniel is sticking with Tua Tagovailoa. So don't start him. Don't have him as a backup.
Yeah, unless you're in a league. I mean, if you're in a league that starts 4 quarterbacks, you can consider Tua. Even then, I think it could be risky. With Lamar, you are hoping to get it back, but you've been without him for several weeks. So hopefully you do have that backup plan in case he can't go. The line indicates he's going to play. Baltimore is favored by 6.5. If Lamar was out, I think that line would go way down. So doesn't mean that it's Vegas is right on this, but we've seen this before. So again, the next 2 days would be more important to see if he's back. Because if he's not practicing today, tomorrow, then I start to get concerned because why isn't he out there?
There's no way that he's going to practice. We can't do that. We can't do this. He can't do this to us. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, I don't have him, so I'm good either way.
Really?
But I mean, it would be. No, I don't. I think I have him in a best ball. But yeah, I mean, look, it's more fun when he's out there, and it would make an interesting story to see if the Ravens can make this run in the division because again, they are. Oh, I haven't checked it since like last week. I think it was after the Thursday night game. They were plus 130 to win the division. Steelers were plus 120. So
wow.
It would be fun. I mean, look, they have a schedule where if they're healthy, if they get Lamar back, they can make a run. Now, they have very little margin for error, but they have the Bears at home. That's a game they can win. At Miami, that should be a win. At Minnesota, at Cleveland, home to the Jets, home to the Bengals, home to the Steelers, at Cincy. I mean, they could win. They might lose one game in that stretch potentially. But again, it's easy to say that because the defenses look terrible. They're starting to get a little healthy there. Maybe they get a couple more guys back, but it's certainly possible that they can make a run here.
Well, they definitely need him to make that run. So let's see him get back out there, please, for us. The other quarterback injury update is that Dave Canales called Bryce Young day-to-day with that ankle injury. We're expecting him probably to not be there this week. I know the timeline usually for those ankle injuries is more 2 to 4 weeks, but you're happy with the day-to-day title on him now. So again, it would be, if and when they announce this, it would be Andy Dalton replacing him. I don't think this is one though where, listen, you're not starting a lot of these receivers for the Carolina Panthers anyway, but to me, Adam, if Andy Dalton's in there, I'm not necessarily downgrading Tedarrell McMillan. If anything, I think it's just a lateral move because of what we haven't necessarily seen from Bryce Young so far to start the season. What say you, Andy Dalton, if he's in there? I think you're only starting maybe a Xavier Legette, I guess, but I'm really not downgrading Tedarrell McMillan because of it.
It actually might help him. Get more targets. Young has not been throwing much, and we saw Dalton come in last year, have a couple decent games, couple bad ones, but I think you would actually might feel better about McMillan getting more targets. And this is a game where they're at home, dogs to Buffalo by 7.5. Buffalo's coming off a bye where they've not played well offensively, so this could be a game trailing script, and Dalton could be passing quite a bit, so could be good for McMillan.
Last of the injury updates, Darren Waller is week to week because we can't have nice things with that. It was the pectoral strain for him. And then we're looking at Michael Penix Jr., also considered day-to-day with the bone bruise that happened for him. So I think that's, they said that he definitely has some limitations right now. But again, that's better than saying week to week for us there, Adam. Oh, and the Titans released Tyler Lockett. Sad. Maybe he'll go back to Seattle.
I mean, there's a lot of teams I think that might be interested. Giants,
that was at his request,
Washington.
by the way. Oh, yeah. Giants would be fun. Would it not?
I don't know how much Lockett has left. That's the only thing.
Not that much, but it's still fun. He's 33. Still wants to be out there.
And as far as Penix, all he needs to do is turn around and hand the ball off this week to Bijan in Algiers. They are playing Miami, and
there we
my
go.
goodness, the The numbers that Bijan could put up this week, although he might not play in the fourth quarter, but
I was gonna say Tyler Algier is a great flex play this week if you have him.
yeah, with 6 teams on bye. I mean, look,
Yes.
it's game script dependent. If you look at Algier, right, in the games that they win, that's where you see him perform well. They're playing Miami, and they're home. They're 7.5 point favorites. I mean, this is a game script. Like with 6 teams on bye, like you couldn't have asked for a better week for Algier to be in the flex conversation.
Absolutely. I agree. I have him and I have already looked and probably will need to start him there. So please, a big game, Tyler Algier. I'm begging you. All right, let's go out to the phone lines now. Let's go out to Larry in Maryland. Larry, what do you got for us?
Somebody offered me a trade Pickens for Gentry. Should I do it?
You're
getting Pickens for Gentry? I mean, it depends on your other running backs.
I really don't got any other. That's the only one I got. I got my other running backs that I got are
yeah, they're pretty bad.
I got McCaffrey, Quinton Junkins, and then I got R.J. Harvey and White from Tampa Bay and Vidal.
Wait, did you say you have McCaffrey, and Judkins?
Yes.
Oh.
So what do you mean you have no one else?
This is amazing. So you would give up he would give up Gentry, right, Adam? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Okay.
And who are your receivers?
My receivers are Ladd McConkey, Jordan Addison, and then on the bench I got Michael Pittman. I got Garrett Wilson because he had a bye, and that's it. And
I mean, with Judkins and McCaffrey, I mean, Gentry's your 3. I don't know. I mean, because you could flex Gentry. I mean, yeah, he could use a receiver. I mean, I don't know. I
don't think you like it.
What about you? Because look, everyone. I think Gentry's a decent buy low right now because he's coming off that game where they ran 30 plays, and yeah, is he going to maybe perform below expectations because of this offense? Yeah, but they're not gonna get blown out like that every single week, and he's gonna get 20 touches in games that they're competitive. I mean, they get Jacksonville when they come back. They're at Denver, home to the Cowboys, home to the Browns. So it's a mixed bag here.
I just even in Gentry's, like, when we have to lower our expectations for Gentry, it just still feels rest of season a little bit higher than Pickens, right? That's how I'm looking at it. And you should be able to flex him.
It's just tough to deal a running back. You got McCaffrey and Judkins. They're going to be in your lineup every week, but Gentry becomes your flex there then with those receivers. And with Pickens, look, he's still going to be fine without Lamb, but the ceiling is lower. We already saw it this week. I mean, he had 4 for 82 on 6 targets, right? There will be games where he gets 7, 8, 9 targets even with Lamb. The Cowboys won pretty easily and didn't need to do as much late in this game. But I probably would not make the trade.
Appreciate you calling in, Larry, and appreciate everyone sending in those messages. We're going to continue to get to them here, but we get to go over to the Guillotine League Most Chopped Players. We get to talk with Paul Charchian. It is my turn to pick. Am I nervous about it? Yes, because last week I was able to win 2, but this week we're going to see if I can do it again. We're talking with Paul Charchian, Most Chopped Players for Week 7 here, coming up next. All right, it is about that time for the most chopped players from Week 7 in Guillotine Leagues, and we can never do this. Yeah, there we go. We can never do this without Paul Charchian here joining us. Paul, welcome in. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It was a wild Week 7 with some big, of course, always big name players that got chopped.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to tip my hand too much because I don't want to say too much to give you, Kendall, a hint about what's coming. But as always, we'll play our Family Feud style guillotine game where, Kendall, you will try to guess 3 of the top 10 most chopped players. If you miss any of them, Adam gets a chance to steal the game by finding one of the players that you did not select out of the top 10. This is always a ton of fun. Kendall, I know you've known this is coming, so you've had some time to think about it.
Just
but can you get all 3 players out of the top 10?
Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. It's like it's the
You should
Mariners
be.
game all over again. I am. By the way, Adam is up 3-2, but we've both had a steal. So this is
Oh,
why
I like
this
it.
one is so important. Yeah, we're keeping track here, Paul. So
Glad, yeah. Thank you for
I'm
keeping
gonna
score.
start with Jalen Waddle. Is he in the top 10?
Yeah.
What? What do you mean?
The weather.
Number 11.
2.5 fantasy
wow.
points. What do you mean? I started him.
Number
Oh, this
11.
is crap.
Jalen Waddle.
Oh
And
my
what's more,
gosh.
separated by number 10 by 1/100th
This
of a
is-
percent.
This is I object. I don't think this is right. That is on my
is a
first
bad
guess.
beat.
2.5 fantasy. Okay, go ahead, Adam. Let's see if you can get it.
Oh no, I don't
You
know.
got the whole field here.
Yeah, no kidding. I could give you 8 of them. You want me to send you my sheet? Of course
No,
I
I
can.
have a long
Oh
sheet. I'm
my
just trying to
gosh,
figure
this
out
is
who to pick.
Garbage. Ugh,
Okay, I'm gonna go
don't mess it up.
George
Don't mess it
Kittle.
up. Oh,
What?
whoa.
What? No.
Do I win automatically?
We've
No.
never had this happen, but we have a winner.
Do I get to go again?
You got wow.
Wow,
Well,
that's crazy.
We're making this
Okay,
up on the fly. How does
I get to go
fantasy
again.
deal with this?
I don't know. I've
Oh.
never
I
I've
don't
never
either.
watched it. I get to go. Let's say I go again. We can't have
I
ties,
think-
right?
We
I
didn't
think
have
now
anything in
here's what- okay.
place.
Here's what we're gonna do.
Okay.
We are now gonna go back to Kendall. Whoever, and then to Adam. Whoever gets somebody in the top 10 wins at this point.
Okay. All right. Me. I'm okay.
Okay, wait,
Oh.
hold on. I'm changing the rules.
Okay.
I'm gonna give both of you an answer. Kendall has the advantage to go first, but Adam, you will also get an
It's a
answer.
match.
And whoever gets higher is the winner.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Does
Oh,
that? I think that's as fair as I can make
my
this right now.
goodness. Yes.
All right,
I
Kendall.
believe-
So far, none of the top 10 players have been chosen. Kittle was
Give-
16, by the way. If you
Yeah, I
remember.
should have known because
Really?
maybe he wasn't
No,
started as much.
I had him on my list too. Okay. Give me. Oh, I'm so nervous. Give me Ashton Genty.
Ashton Genty, number 2.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Adam. Let's see.
Second most chopped player, Adam
Okay.
Genty. So now, Adam, you've got one player with
Don't
whom
mess
you
it up.
can win.
So
I wouldn't even know who the most chopped player was.
I mean, I don't think this guy's won, but he's been on this list every week. Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley is number 1.
Yes!
Pulled it off.
Yeah! Yeah!
The most chopped
This is
player.
garbage. Oh my god. Dang it.
Kobe.
Oh my gosh. So Adam wins?
Yeah.
Adam
Oh, that
wins.
is crazy. Wow.
Well done, my man.
Good
That was
job.
fantastic.
That stinks. I was between him. He had 5.2 fantasy points and Genty had 4.4. So I said maybe it's Genty, but Saquon's been on this
He's
list, Paul,
every week because I do the
is-
write up
Yes.
of
Yeah.
of the top 10 chopped
Oh
that'll
my
be out later today.
goodness.
He's on this list every week, and
Yeah,
it's amazing how bad he has been.
that is crazy.
It's,
All right.
it's shocking. He has been on this top 10 list 4 of the last 5 weeks.
Wow. And how much
Saquon Barkley.
and how much, because we right, not to go back and start at one, Paul, but I mean, how much are we spending on this guy if this is someone that's on here every single week? I don't even remember what we said last week for how much you should spend on him, but at this point you can't go all in on him because he's on this list every single time.
No, well, okay. Normally we do 5 through 1 as we talk through the 5 most chopped players and how much we'd bid. But since we're on Saquon Barkley, let's just
Yeah.
go 1 to 5 this week.
Okay.
He was the most chopped player, a 17.1% chop rate, utilization score of 80 out of 100. Here, factor this into your thoughts on the bidding. The upcoming schedule: Giants, then a bye week, and then at Green Bay is very tough for opposing runners. Last week's median price on Saquon Barkley, $313.
Wow.
People are
My
With
not
all the
winning.
struggles he has, that name cachet is still very much alive. So,
Wow.
how much are you going to bid on Saquon Barkley? Adam, I think you are up first for this one.
Yeah, look, I don't understand how people haven't learned because I've been saying I'm just not spending a lot. I don't even think I can get to triple digits, so I'll go 75. Look, he's not doing much on the ground at all. He has no 100-yard games from scrimmage this year. He had 13 out of 16
Amazing.
last year. The offensive line is getting no push. You could see it. He's at no holes to run through. He's getting contact in the backfield. You mentioned the key component here. The bye's coming up in week 9. So, yeah, I just can't. I'll go 75.
Yeah, I was gonna stay low there too. So I'll say 68 because I was gonna pick 75. And especially with that bye charge in 2 weeks, you might almost assume he's gonna be back on waivers too. I'm gonna do 68 and assume I'm just not gonna get him.
Yeah, I was at 85. I was higher than you guys, but you have maybe talked me down a little bit. Normally, I am the lowest bidder out of the group. But that bye and then at Green Bay, man, it feels like that's another opportunity for him to get chopped. So
wow,
I don't love it. I don't love it. Just 85 on Saquon Barkley. The second most chopped player, as we've already identified, Las Vegas running back Ashton Jeanty, a 16.4% chop rate, a healthy utilization score of 76 out of 100, but goes on bye this week, then hosting Jacksonville, and then at Denver. Last week's median price on Ashton Jeanty still very high, $240. Wow. I don't think at this stage we can count Ashton Jeanty as an end game player. Kendall, what are you bidding on Ashton Jeanty?
Well, I guess it just depends on what your, roster looks like, because if you need someone this week, he goes on a bye. So I think I'd only spend like $95 again, with the idea that I'm not going to get him.
All right, Adam, Ashton Jeanty heading into his bye week. How much are you bidding?
Yeah, 60. I mean, that bye week is big, and I do think he'll be fine the rest of the way. I think he's going to get 20 touches a lot of games. I think this past week was one of those floor games. Again, they ran 30 plays, second fewest in NFL history. Yeah. I don't expect that every week unless they play the Chiefs again. But yeah, I'll just, because of the bye, it's just like I'll just wait and he'll probably become available. So I'll say like 60.
60. Well, again, I was higher than you two are. I was at 110 on Ashton Jeanty. Maybe you're talking me down a little bit, but I still feel like I'm getting a super high usage player at probably the lowest price of his season right here. So I feel like I'm buying the dip a little bit on Ashton Jeanty. Don't love this bye week, and I wouldn't bid 110 if I needed him to be a starter this week on his bye.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. The third most chopped player, Chicago quarterback Caleb Williams. This is a bit of a surprise, and especially I thought he was going to have a nice game against the Saints. The upcoming schedule to me is pretty tricky. At Baltimore. Now, Baltimore's secondary ravaged by injury through the whole first part of the season, but now should be much healthier. Then he goes at Cincinnati. That's favorable. Then the Giants. Last week's median price was just $19 on Caleb Williams. What are you bidding here? I believe we're on Adam.
Yeah. Adam. We've talked about this a lot, just the need to not spend on quarterback. And now with 11 teams alive, you might not even need one. So, same range as last week. I'll go $20.
Yeah, I was going to go 48 because that's why I didn't guess him, Paul, is because I thought, well, we're getting into the section of guillotine leagues in the season where a lot of people are just going to have good quarterbacks moving forward. Right. So that's why I didn't guess him, but I would stay low. Like, what did I just say? $70, $65, 60. I'll go 65.
Well, you guys are way, way high in Caleb Williams. So there's 11 teams left at max in guillotine leagues. True. There's way more than 11 good quarterbacks. Last week's median price was $19. I'm at $5 for Caleb Williams as my second quarterback, probably. So I'm only bidding 5. All right, this guy has appeared a few times. The fourth most chopped player, Detroit tight end Sam Laporta from last night. 14.7% chop rate. His utilization score doesn't sound so bad, 68 out of 100, but it's a lot of big games, bad games, big games, dud games. The upcoming schedule, bye week, and then Minnesota, not great, then at Washington. Last week's median price on Sam Laporta, $57. Kendall, what are you putting up for Sam Laporta?
Yeah, with the bye week, it's tough. I think I would go $30 on him for this week.
Yeah, 25 for me. The bye is a concern, and also just the floor is low on a given week. Yeah, he came off 2 really good games, and then we saw what happened last night, and that's just the nature of this offense, where you can count on Gibbs, you can count on St. Brown, but everyone else, it depends on the game flow, the matchup. So the floor is just too low on a given week.
You hit it right on the head. This offense is a problem for everybody except those two players. And we won't talk about him, but the 9th most shot player, Jamison Williams.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It just,
That was a good one.
he is the antithesis of what you want in a guillotine league because he's that once a month spike play, and good luck guessing when that's coming.
Yeah.
It certainly did not on Monday night. All right, our 5th and final player, and this one's pretty thorny. Houston wide receiver Nico Collins.
Yeah.
Knocked out in the 3rd quarter with the concussion last night. Utilization score 68 out of 100. Obviously, we don't know what his availability will be for this coming weekend. Upcoming schedule, 3 home games for Houston, but they're tough. San Francisco, Denver, Jacksonville. Last week's median price on Nico Collins, $201. Adam, what's he doing here?
See, the concussion makes it tricky. Like, I would have to take this up until the deadline, but at the same time, we might not have that information. I think if I had to guess now, I'm saying he's not going to play. The concussion was Monday night, late Monday night. They play Sunday. You have to go through the concussion protocol. Then you said Denver next week. Patrick Surtain? Yeah. But you talk about end game player, I think Nico is that guy. So,
yes.
This is tricky. I'll go 125.
Oh, okay. I'll go 105 for Nico Collins.
I am going to split the difference at $115 on Collins. Now, if he does clear the protocol, or we have good reports by the Wednesday deadline for most leagues waivers, I'd nudge that up because Collins is great. But man, that Houston offense, the offensive line so bad. They just go through these stretches where they look totally dysfunctional.
Yeah.
And I worry a little bit about Collins and any member of the Houston Texans just having some dud games in December when I really need those players to perform well. He's the only end game player on the Houston Texans roster. Ugh.
Oh my
I don't know.
I can't believe I lost that game. That is okay. Okay, I have more. I don't know, Adam. Do you have a list?
I do have a list. Jamison was on my list.
Was Roma Dunze in the top 10, Paul?
Yes, he was. Player number
okay.
8 was Roma Dunze, who's been really good and extremely safe this year. But he and Caleb Williams with that surprising dud game, and it was all running.
I'm curious about this guy because I think everyone loved him this week because of the matchup. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt.
Yeah.
Oh, let me take a quick look. I don't have him right in front of me, but I'll
that
get him.
means
He
he's
was
not.
the 35th most chopped
Okay.
player.
He was awesome.
Rashad White? Rashad White?
Let me take a look at him too. Hold on.
That means no.
Yeah, if it's not.
Yeah,
White was 34th.
What about, did we say Kittle already with the
I did, yeah.
Kittle,
yeah. Okay.
Kittle was in here at number 16. The players we have not mentioned, and I think the most interesting too. Puka Nacua came in at 6th.
Okay.
We talk about this all the time. Even players who don't play due to bye week and injury, they're so valuable for your guillotine league team that you can take an L just because you've been riding Puka Nacua for 7 weeks and now you don't have him.
Okay.
And then Brian Thomas. What a huge disappointment this season has been. He's appeared on this list a few times, and
yeah, that's disappointing.
Was there anybody in our industry that was fading Brian Thomas coming into this season?
Not me. He was high in my rankings to start the season. I mean, I was prioritizing him, and it has been nothing but disappointment here for them. What about Kamara? Was Kamara in there? No.
Great question. He was player number 30 in chops.
Okay, 30. All right.
But I'm glad you brought him up. 3 straight really middling games for Alvin Kamara. Now there's no Kendre Miller. There is a path for Devin Neal to be the starting running back on this team before too long. And I don't know if it's imminent, but they can't keep getting nothing out of Alvin Kamara. At some point, they're just going to have to give the ball to some other players. And Devin Neal's time is coming. In guillotine, it's going to be trickier because you can't really sit on a player for a month and just hope that he pans out. But in standard leagues, I think Devin Neal becomes a fascinating pickup this week.
Yeah, in deeper formats where there's not a lot available, because you mentioned it. They were already doing it with Kendre Miller. They might be a little bit more slow with Neal, but it's probably going to happen at some point because, Kamara is doing nothing.
And there's a chance that at the end of the season, they just continue to lose and they shut him down. That's the other part. It might not even be an injury. They might just say, hey, we want to make sure you don't get injured or whatever else. So let's see what we have with our younger guys. So yeah, I really like that call out.
Yeah.
Charge. Appreciate you joining us. That was
Tons of fun.
So fun.
Yeah.
I had a
we
little
love it
less
every week.
fun than Adam, but whatever. We're back next week. Appreciate you so much. And everyone can go check out the Chop podcast, all of our Guillotine League content at fantasylife.com.
We will look forward to talking to you next week. Bye, guys.
Awesome. There he goes. Paul Charchian over there. Make sure you're giving him a follow on X. And again, that was the most chopped players for Guillotine Leagues. You can still join them, by the way. That is not something that you have to start at the beginning of the year. I think it would be kind of fun, Adam, to start one in the middle of the season because those drafts are going to be so different than what we did 7-8 weeks ago, whatever it was. So you can go to guillotineleagues.com, get that started. We also have a great app that you can download as well. So make sure you head over there and check that out. We're going to continue on. We've got some high highs and low lows that we still want to talk about here. Trey McBride, Chris Olave. Should we expect that every single week? And then, of course, going through some of the lows that we just mentioned with Paul Charchian, Jalen Waddle, a little Alvin Kamara as well. We're going to break it down coming up next. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to have Xfinity, all the games all in one place. And here is what you get when you watch sports with Xfinity. It is a long, great list here. You've got the Sports Zone, every pro football game and over 1,000 college games, highlights and alerts all in one place. You get the multi-view, one of my favorites. You can be in up to 4 stadiums at one time. You also get the Xfinity fan view. So all the live scores, all the odds, all the stats all in one place, personalized to you and the teams that you like. Of course, you get the enhanced 4K and you get the voice remote. Just say football. Imagine all of your football all in one place. It is that easy. Learn more at xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Appreciate everyone, as always, hanging out with us on this Tuesday, getting you ready for that waiver run, getting you ready for everything that Week 8 has to offer. But, of course, looking back still, Adam, at what we saw in Week 7. See some questions coming in here at Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis, if you want to send those in. Trey McBride, though, I mean, Jacoby Brissett might be the best thing for Trey McBride at this point. They're going into a bye, so we should probably expect Kyler Murray to be back after that one. They are one of, again, the 6 teams on a bye, but the season high 29.4 fantasy points. They lost that game to the Packers, which was way closer than I expected it to be, but caught 10 of a team high 13 targets for 74 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, going into the bye, but it was at least nice to get those points from him and Jacoby Brissett, the hero we didn't know we needed for the Cardinals.
Yeah, look, this has been a season where if you waited on tight end and you got one in the middle to late rounds, you feel good. But McBride is one of the guys that if you paid up for, he has returned that value. His worst game this year in PPR has been 9.1. So he's given you good production every week, and we've seen 2 great games the last 2 weeks with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. So with Kyler Murray through 5 games, 1 touchdown from McBride, 3 touchdowns in 2 games with Jacoby Brissett. And look at these games, too. 8 for 72 and a touchdown, 10 for 74 and 2 touchdowns. And then when they come back from the bye, they play the Cowboys. So my guess is we probably will see Kyler Murray, and you just hope Kyler Murray watched these 2 games and said, okay, I need to target this guy more in the end zone and figure this out.
He carries a high floor just because of the consistent target volume, right? But that's really what we're looking at here. It's 9.3 targets per game. So the touchdown production is what separates him as one of those top tight ends in fantasy. But yeah, the Cardinals, again, heading into the bye, you would expect Kyler Murray to be back and hopefully better. That's all I can say. I only have him in one place, Adam, because I always do the thing, and I know you have too, where you say, I've faded this guy all season, and then you go, well, what if he is good? I need at least one piece of him. That's what I did with Kyler Murray in one league this year.
I did not do that with Kyler this year.
Who did you do it with, though?
I did do that. Who did I do that with this year?
Yeah, someone you faded the whole time. Was it Jameson? No, it wasn't Jameson.
No,
Williams.
So actually, as draft season went along, I kept lowering Jameson in my ranking. So I have Jameson Williams, I think, in 2 early August drafts. One was the Flex League draft that we did in August in New York. So, and I think the other one was FFWC I did in early August. But as we started going on, I started pushing him down the board and pushing other receivers up. Like I put, Egbuka just kept rising on my draft board, so he started to go over Jameson. But there has to be a player. Last year it was Anthony Richardson. And who was it this year?
I can't remember.
I can't remember
It'll
either.
come back to you. Maybe at midnight when you're just up 1 in the morning, you know, and you're
which is
just
why I can't sleep because I'm thinking about who did I draft that I shouldn't have.
it's not the bets anymore. It's just thinking about who you took too much of. But yeah, that's me with Kyler Murray, unfortunately. But it's only one league. So again, we're hoping that he's going to be good and back after this bye week as well. The other one, Chris Olave for New Orleans was, I mean, this was a high this week, obviously. 26.8 fantasy points. Again, they lost to the Bears. The Bears didn't need to do much. He caught 5 of those 7 targets for the 98 yards and then 2 touchdowns as well. And the Saints really were schemed up for Olave, right? On both of his touchdowns, you were moving him around a little bit. So this was really nice. And now he's got, if I remember correctly, he had 98 yards, receiving yards last week as well. So you're looking at 10.1 targets per game. Again, this was someone that I think people were very split on with Olave. It was, you know, the concussions and the quarterback situation. On the other side, you could say, well, he's got the talent and he'll get the targets if he's able to stay healthy. So we're kind of on the other side of that right now. It's nice to see him putting up fantasy points.
Yeah, he was a great value in drafts, and you mentioned the reasons why people were kind of split, but he's been really good this year for where you drafted him because he's wide receiver 16 in points per game in PPR. Now, the good thing is, too, he's hit double-digit points in PPR every game, and what I've seen the last 2 weeks, they're starting to take more deep shots with him. He has a 53-yard catch and a 57-yard catch over the last 2 games. The longest catch he had in the first 5 games was 17 yards. So you were like, oh, it was like, 8 for 54, 6 for 54. You're like, okay. But now the last 2 weeks are taking some shots downfield. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's even with the state of this offense, quarterback play, Olave has figured out a way to get it done every single week. Even his worst game of the season against Buffalo, he only had 3 for 20, but he found the end zone. So you're feeling good about Olave because a lot of people drafted him as a wide receiver 4.
Yeah. I saw some people asking if they should sell high after this game, and I honestly said no, because where you drafted him, you weren't spending up, right? This was not an expensive pick to get Olave this season, and like you said, I mean, the floor hasn't been bad. 12 fantasy points in week 1, then you go to 11, 15, a down game against Buffalo in week 4, then you've got 12 fantasy points, 15, 26. The rest of the schedule, at least for the next 4 weeks, their bye is week 11, so I should say 3 weeks here. Tampa Bay this coming week, and then you're at the Rams, at Carolina before the week 11 bye. So I would hold on to him unless you're getting something crazy in return. I just really like Olave for the season, especially where you drafted him, because again, you didn't pay much for him. It wasn't like 2 years ago.
And you basically clarified that. If someone gives you something good for him, yeah, but the whole point is you don't need to go out there and actively sell him. I think he's going to give you what we've seen pretty much every single week the rest of the year.
I agree. All right. Final waiver wire names to know. Final questions going into week 8. Again, want to talk through maybe Devin Neal, someone we didn't mention before, and some sleeper picks that you can pick up on waivers this week. We're going to break down those names here coming up next. Going through waiver wire names to know, the final list here before waivers run for a good amount of people here going into tonight. Adam, you know what I'm pissed about is that I thought I did win the GST this week, and I didn't. My partner, like the guy truck, even sent me a message saying, "Good job." That was 2 days ago.
Yeah, well, then he had Gibbs.
Then he's got Gibbs and JSN. That's a really good team.
Don't compliment
it
that
is.
guy.
Cam Scadaboo, Stafford gave him 40. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, you put up a lot of points, and that matters in this format. My team is falling apart. I don't think I'm going to make it.
I really needed this win, though, because 3 and 4 is just not a fun
but
place to be.
Again, points are very important because the last 2
Jen
playoff
put
spots.
up 205?
Yeah. Jonathan Taylor.
Goodness.
She has a good team.
She's
definitely
Keenan, Devontae.
She's one of the favorites.
Taylor. Oh, a 0 from Debo. Tough out there. All right, that's fine.
It is tough out there.
Isn't it fun when you go and you think you won one of your matchups?
No, I don't find that fun. We have a different definition of fun.
It's a great time. All right, final waiver wire names to know here going into week 8. We've mentioned a few of the running backs here. Alec Pierce, by the way, I think Alec Pierce is because we're talking about the 6 teams on a bye. You're going to hear us say that every single day because it is bye-mageddon week. But I do think Alec Pierce for the Colts, he's got one specific role, and it is that you are going to see him downfield. I watched that game, and whenever you saw Daniel Jones kind of loading up, you knew to look down the field and see where Alec Pierce was in that moment, because that's just what he's going to do. So his ADOT is insane. I think it's 20 in that game, 24.4 yards or something like that. But Alec Pierce, I think, is a good name this week just because, again, high volatility, but he has a good 18% target share. So I think he's a boom bust wide receiver 4. But again, this week you're going to be out some really good wide receivers. So he could be one that you just put in there because, yeah, he's not averaging a bad fantasy points per game either. I think it's 9.5. So it's not bad.
Yeah, he's come on a little bit. Obviously, they have a lot of weapons, and it's a game that they should dominate against Tennessee. They are favored by 14.5. They are at home. They've already faced Tennessee this year on the road and won 41-20. So it'll be another big Jonathan Taylor game. He had 3 touchdowns in that game. Pierce did have 4 for 67 in that first matchup. So Tyler Warren was kind of quiet, 3 for 38. We'll see if Josh Downs can go. That's the other factor. But yeah, Pierce, like you said, when they're going downfield. So it's possible they take a shot to him downfield and, he scores a long touchdown.
Yeah.
And in a week with 6 teams on bye, I do think in the deeper formats, he's someone that will be in the conversation to start.
Like I said, little volatile, but again, 6 teams on a bye, you might be without, really good, like someone like JSN, so you have to turn somewhere. I think the tight ends, Oronde Gadsden, is probably just going to be at the top of every waiver wire list this week, and for good reason. He's only 3% rostered. It looked like a breakout game, came away with 7 catches, 164 yards, and a touchdown. The utilization is also really good. Dwain McFarland broke it down. You can look at it in the utilization report as well, but Gadsden is going to be the graphic for every waiver wire this week, and I think it's deservedly so. Like getting the production that he is and the utilization, it all looks really good for him.
Oh, it does. And again, Herbert's not going to drop back to pass 55 times every game, and there are a lot of receivers, but Gadsden looks good, and he's getting open, he's making plays. You're just not going to go away from that. So they're going to have to figure something out. There could be an injury at some point, but it just sucks because you could have gotten him cheap the last 2 weeks. And this is the part about where you have to be early on these guys. As soon as you see a glimpse, you got to take the shot because you got him cheap. I forgot what I paid for him last week, but I regret that I didn't do it in more leagues because now you're going to have to spend. Like, it's not going to be cheap. Everyone's talking about him. Everyone saw a big performance. So, yeah, now you're going to have to spend some money if you want him.
Yeah, I mean, he went for 29. If anyone needs a reference, he went for $29 in my $100 Fab League today, and the next closest was my bid at 17. And I thought I might get him, but 29 is what he went for. So you have to spend up for Oronde Gadsden. That article is live at fantasylife.com. Waiver wire names to know, 100% free. Make sure you go to fantasylife.com/comet. COMET gets you a free Fantasy Life Plus subscription for a year. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us here today. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. We will be back same time tomorrow.